Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is Thursday, September 12th, and we are bringing you all the major news that you need to know about. And today, we're going to expose multiple lies that Kamala Harris told, not just through the last, decade or so, but more specifically during the debate, because she's getting shellacked left and right by a lot of conservative news outlets out there for her debacle, the 3v1 versus Trump during the debate, and now it's being called by multiple people the worst debate in American history. It was botched, it was a setup, and that's what they're describing this thing as, Patriots. I always give you a shout out. Take America Back. Lulu's in here, the architect, Danielle's in here. We got a lot of people hanging out with us. Miriam's over there at Rumble. Appreciate it. Let's jump right into the news, make sure we get through everything today. Well, a couple side things before we actually get into Kamala Harris's lies. There's a lot of them. We have Illinois super mayor Tiffany Henyard throws extravagant party while under fire for excessive spending. Now, again, if Democrats are voting for this stuff, why are you complaining? Why? I don't get it. There's a constant theme here, right? Where I want to make an infographic, actually, where it's like one of those recycle, things where you just go in a circle, where at the top, it's Democrats vote in Democrats. Democrats cause problems. Democrat voters complain about Democrats caused problems. Democrat politicians say they're going to fix said problems that they created. They vote back in Democrats. It's a circle. That's all they do. Tiffany here, the self-anointed super mayor of a Chicago suburb, of course it's coming from a Democrat-ran area, is under fire after she threw, yes, folks, if you can't see and you're listening on audio, $85,000 on a party that featured R&B singer Kiki Wyatt, no clue who that is, and rapper Jay Holiday last month, but hardly anyone attended, according to media reports. So taxpayers fronted that 85 G's. Isn't that just lovely? While there's murders happening, there's gang-infested ran areas in Chicago, maybe not the suburbs, but who knows, it's Chicago area. Drug trafficking, illegal immigrants, but hardly, again, anyone attended. The mayor has come under heavy criticism for her spending of taxpayer funds for first-class travel, concerts, and more. This was a flop, former Dalton trustee stated, who went to see the mini concert for herself at the Taste of Thornton Township. Oh, is that what they're calling it? So here's the mayor. Now, Wyatt, was paid $30,000 to sing for 30 minutes. Jay Holiday was paid $20,000 for a half-hour set. The township spent another $6,600 to rent the inflatable bounce houses. So it's just a party. It's just a party. I don't want to hear any complaints from Democrats. Again, you get what you voted for. And for some reason, that concept, they don't get it. For the same reason, it's a remarkable thing. We tried to oust Gavin Newsom like 2 years ago and put in Larry Elder, and Democrats still voted for Gavin Newsom. But yet they're complaining about the homeless problem, the illegal immigrants here, the crime-ridden areas, the terrible, trashy streets that we have. Not just the actual streets themselves, but it's just completely dirty. Nobody cleans it up. People are defecating everywhere, pissing on the side of buildings. They're complaining about the smash and grabs. They're complaining about the crime. They're complaining about the deficit. They're complaining about the taxes. They're complaining about the high rent. They're complaining about the economy. All these things they're complaining about, but yet they go back in and vote Democrat. Isn't that a remarkable thing? Like I said, it's a circle. It's a circle. They don't get it. They don't get it, and they won't get it. I also want to show a really cool clip that the media is not going to show you. Trump was out here during 9/11. I shouldn't say out here because it makes it seem like he was in California. But I believe he's in New York City. And a little boy walks up to him and asks, President Trump, make America great again. It's the cutest thing ever. Look at the way that kid grabbed his hand, too. That is a man already. That's a man in like a 10-year-old's body. Look at this. Watch how he grabs Trump's hand. Damn. The smack, the slap, and just grabs him by the hand. I'm going to take you, President. Good for him. Good for him. That is adorable. That's something the media won't share with you because, God forbid, kids show that they actually enjoy being around Donald Trump, unlike Democrats who, sniff children, castrate children, give them hormone enhancers, puberty blockers, want to lop off their genitals, make sure they drive RVs to kill babies. They're not kid friendly, folks. Want to trans your kids in the education system without you knowing. Show them how to masturbate using cartoons at a second or third grade level, like we see in New Jersey. All that stuff. No, kids sense that stuff out, man. They don't like Joe Biden. They don't like Kamala Harris. Eric Birch with the $2 over there. Thank you so much over at Rumble. Good morning, Patriot family. Good morning to you, sir. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the $2. $5 as well, coming from other people. I appreciate it, folks. Greatly appreciated. So nice little clip there. We have Fox News doing some reporting, and this one, is damning. This one's rough. So we all know who John Kirby is. Well, he is getting slapped upside his damn head for what he said. Quote, no use in responding to a handful of vets on Biden's botched Afghan withdrawal. This went viral yesterday, not just on X, not just on Fox News, but everybody was covering it. So on the anniversary of 9/11, the White House National Security Council Communications Advisor John Kirby dismissed the concerns of military veterans critical of the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. Now, here's the thing. He was writing in response to a Fox News digital press inquiry that there's no use weighing on the veteran views. Now, what I heard was this was not supposed to go out, that he accidentally did one of those reply alls on the email and screwed up. Check this out. So this was not supposed to be seen by you or I or the media. Obviously, no use in responding. A handful of vets, indeed, and all of one stripe. Look, Kirby said in a reply all email chain Wednesday afternoon that appeared to be intended for White House staffers only, but which also included Fox News Digital. The dude screwed up, and they're going to sit there and say Trump said all these things about veterans. Trump doesn't like the military. Really? This goes hand in hand what we've seen from the Democrats. This goes hand in hand and fits the narrative what we see from the Biden-Harris administration on their treatment of not just veterans, but military personnel. That's insane. That is wild. I've always said this, if you're a vet or somebody who served in the military or are an active service member, hand to God, I really do mean this. I never served. My grandfather did. My father did. I don't understand why you would vote Democrat. Not a clue. You're most likely to go to war. Maybe that's what you want. I don't know. You are most likely not to be taken care of after, okay, with the Veterans Administration. You're not going to be taken care of by the Democrats. You, are talked down to by the Democrats. They put you in parking garages and serve you cookies by Jill Biden. Y'all remember that one years ago. They kick out our veterans that served in Afghanistan, Iraq. They kicked them out of the hotel rooms and replaced them with refugees and illegal immigrants from Afghanistan and Iraq. Go figure that one. They, instead of taking care of you, give $87 million a week to the Taliban that shot your buddies and American soldiers and service members. They're giving the Iranians $10 billion rather than taking care of you. The same Iranians that fund terrorism that, quite frankly, could possibly be tracked to the self-bombing, the destruction of 13 service members at the Kabul airport in Afghanistan on that botched pullout. The list really does keep going. I don't understand it. I really don't get why in God's green earth, if you're an active service member, that you would actually vote, or a veteran, vote for Democrats. Let me give you another one here. Just 2 months ago, DHS advisory board came out and said, if you are a MAGA supporter, or you are a religious person, or get this, if you were ever in the military, you are deemed a terror risk in your own country. So let me get this straight. You have somebody coming out and calling you basically a terrorist. That administration, the Biden-Harris administration, the DHS secretaries coming out calling you a terror risk. So they think you're a terror risk when you're serving your own country. Gee, who did they also do that to? Oh, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, they put on the terror watch list. That's why I don't get it. But remember, we always have to bring the receipts. Democrats don't have to do a damn thing, like you saw during the debate. See, Donald Trump has to sit there and defend himself because it's Kamala Harris making a bunch of BS accusations. And then you have the legacy media like ABC News also attacking him and posing questions in a negative manner while posing questions to Kamala Harris in a positive light. And then after dumping on Donald Trump with some sort of rebuttal from the legacy media, meaning the ABC News moderators, they go, hey, Kamala, would you like to follow up on after we just shit on the former president? I don't get it. You all saw the same thing I'm seeing here. Wild. You're just joining us. God bless you. Couldn't be more than happy to have you with us. We got Beekeeper Captain in here. Appreciate that, brother. Hillary wrote the script, and she read it like a bad actress. The Dems took it line and sinker. Absolutely correct. Oh, man. Can you imagine Hillary running again? Holy lordy. Now, here's the thing, folks. Donald Trump did not have his best performance. He missed a lot of opportunities. Look, that doesn't mean he didn't throw some punches. He did throw some punches. He didn't show up. He took the bait. He spent a lot of his time defending himself on accusations Kamala Harris made. He doesn't need to do that. He didn't need to do that. He's already done that in the past. That's all hogwash. He did a great job in the Joe Biden debate when they brought up January 6th, when they brought up the criminal indictments. He did a phenomenal job in that debate of turning it back on Joe Biden regarding January 6th, regarding his indictments. He kind of did it a little bit during the debate going, well, why are those people not prosecuted? Why are all the criminals not prosecuted? Why are the people that are raping our women and our children not being prosecuted? Why Black Lives Matter and Antifa and those that took over Chaz and Chop over there in Oregon, why are they not being prosecuted? So he had some good moments, but here's the thing, you guys. House Republicans lament Trump's terrible debate performance. So it wasn't just me that saw it, really. And now I mentioned his bar was already set really high after what he'd done to Joe Biden. So this could have been a normal debate performance by Donald Trump, but just because it was such a huge thing of him punching through Joe Biden's chest and then uppercutting the Democrat Party, the entire apparatus, he needed to perform just as good. So that's probably one of the reasons why he didn't look as good as he could have been, where Kamala Harris just needed to show up. Remember, she sucks at debating anyways, so that's why she met expectations. House Republicans are privately expressing frustration about former President Donald Trump's performance in his debate against Vice President Kamala Harris on Tuesday. Several House GOP lawmakers granted anonymity to speak freely, acknowledged Trump missed opportunities. This is correct. This is exactly our analysis in real time. Like actually watching it, I said he shouldn't take the bait. He missed that. He needs to turn and attack Kamala Harris. So missed opportunities to effectively attack Harris and tout his own record. Exactly correct. They are 100% right here. We may not like it because we're Trump fans, but look, at least you know that I'm not going to sit there and pander to my audience, right? You all know I'm going to vote for Trump, but I'm not going to pander to you. I'm just going to give you what I think is right, and you don't have to agree, and that's okay. And we go on our merry way. You know what I mean? It was terrible. I think you're seeing that comment from everybody. One senior House Republican told Fox News. I don't think it was terrible. I think that's kind of a little bit too harsh. I don't know if he's referring to the debate itself on the handling of the moderators. That was terrible. The thing that's terrible is he had so many opportunities to come after her and he didn't. He got bogged down on the hook. She was dragging through the water. That part's true. I don't think he did a terrible job. Like I said, I think it was a normal debate for him, very similar to what you would have saw in 2016. But he did such a good job of deflecting and kind of shielding himself from the bait from Joe Biden that I think it got the better of him. And that was the strategy the entire time. That you know that was Kamala Harris's strategy going in, because she was relentless throughout the entire night in doing that, because they'd done their research. They knew exactly what was going to trigger him. She had these down pat, probably memorized on the phraseology that's just going to sit there, pry and poke him. And it absolutely worked 100%. There is rumors that there's going to be another debate. Is it going to be with Fox News? I'm not sure. It's tough because now that Trump didn't do a great performance, if he doesn't take another debate, it's going to make him look weak. And then Harris and the Democrats say, look, he's too scared for another debate. She hit him so hard. Is that who you want to be as president? So now he's pigeonholed. He's between a rock and a hard place, because I would only like him to do Fox News. There could be an advantage here because I think Fox News was going to be originally the next debate anyways. So we might get lucky here, but it needs to be Fox. And if it is, I hope Fox comes out swinging. I want them to be so unbiased, I want them to be so biased, it is head spinning. I don't know if that was actually an earpiece. A lot of people are talking about that. It very well could have been, but I don't know. I don't have enough evidence to claim. I see the connection. So a lot of people are writing in both Rumble and YouTube and other places about the earpiece. I saw the pictures. I saw the earpiece. I know what you guys are referring to. I don't have enough evidence to say that it was actually a microphone or, an audio piece talking into her ear. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What was done was done. Everybody saw it. And there was corrections made, which we'll get to in a moment. The damage has been done. Trump needs to come out and perform well. He needs to sit there and hit the news media upside their damn head when he's doing interviews, which he is. So we also have this here where Kamala Harris clearly won debate over Donald Trump, but VP got no bump from voters after performance. So this is a poll that came out by the New York Post. And this is what I meant by Donald Trump had a normal performance, but not his best. And Kamala Harris just came out and kind of met expectations. So it was really a draw at the end of the day in terms of polling. If anything, Donald Trump actually got a little bit of a bump from voters. So check this out. In a survey conducted by Legger, half of respondents who watched at least some portion of the ABC News debate said Harris was the winner. Now, I agree with that. While 29% said Trump had gotten the better of VP, and 13% said neither candidate had won the Philadelphia showdown. However, poll also shows Trump gained 1% point of support among likely voters from a pre-debate survey taken following the Democrat National Convention. Now, that's pre-debate survey, so careful reading that. He gained one point, but that point could have actually evaporated after the debate. Currently, Harris has a backing of 50% of likely voters. Trump garnered 47%. There is a margin of error, about 3 probably in there. Notably, 60% of respondents who watched all or part of Tuesday's debate described it as good, compared to 42% who gave the same rating on June 27th. Now, it's amazing how people could say that it's good, rather than it's like, hey, it was clearly biased. You saw them only attacking Donald Trump. Everybody who has half a brain saw that. But it wasn't just Kamala Harris's performance. It wasn't just the debate within itself. You also, after the debate, had Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris. Now, to be frank, you guys, this is a big deal. She is a mega celebrity. They call them Swifties. And because Taylor Swift is endorsing Kamala Harris, there's people out, a lot of people, thousands of people, I would go as far as say hundreds of thousands of people are going to vote for Kamala Harris just because Taylor Swift is voting for Kamala Harris. That is it. I know that's remarkable and insane, but that is what's going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if Taylor Swift showed up to a venue and started performing a concert. This woman made billions off her last concert, the Eras Tour. So I'm not going to play this down. This is a huge deal. Now, there's a lot of Swifties that are coming out saying, oh, we're still voting for Donald Trump. But that's not going to be everybody. So you had former President Donald Trump reacting to this news of the endorsement. On Wednesday morning during Fox and Friends, Trump called in and was asked what he thinks about Swift's public support. I actually like Miss Mahomes, that's Patrick Mahomes' wife, much better. If you want to know the truth, the former president told hosts referring to Kansas City Chiefs. What's nice, though, is that the Mahomes are friends with Taylor Swift. So it shows you that, like, outside of politics, people actually do get along. And that when you bring politics into the mix, that's when people kind of butt heads. But mostly, we agree like on a lot of things as Americans, believe it or not. The differential between what we agree on versus what we don't agree on is actually very small. We agree on a lot of things. She's a big Trump fan, he added. I was not a Taylor Swift fan. It was just a question of time. You couldn't possibly endorse President Joe Biden. No, of course not. You look at Biden, you couldn't possibly endorse him, Trump continued. But she's a very liberal person. She seems to always endorse a Democrat. And by the way, she's a hypocrite. And she'll probably pay a price for that in the marketplace. I don't think she will. But no, I like Britney. I like Britney's great. She's got a lot of news last week. I don't think it's going to do anything to hurt her numbers. People like her music. They're going to go pay for her music. In the same way, a lot of people didn't like the things about Michael Jackson, whether they were true or false. But people liked his music. People are still listening to his music to this day. So it's not going to hurt her in the marketplace whatsoever. And look, she has enough money anyways. I call her a hypocrite because she's all about climate change, right? Taylor Swift's all about climate change, but yeah, she's flying her freaking jet all across the world for years. I hate that, man. It's like who's that guy from the Titanic? That sits there and pushes climate change as well. Leonardo DiCaprio does the same thing, but he's flying his private jet everywhere around the globe, burning fossil fuels. But these the ones that are holier than thou, that are better than the rest of us. Well, folks, they're gonna tell us how we should live our lives. That's really how it works at the end of the day, which is annoying as hell. I don't want anybody to tell me how to live my life in the same way I don't want to tell other people how to live their damn life. Leave me alone. Now, here's that exchange with Trump and Fox and Friends.
On that point, then.
By the way, Lawrence is doing a very good job, I have to say. He really is.
He's doing a great. Hey, I've got a quick question for you. Out of nowhere, after the debate last night, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. What do you think?
Well, I actually like Mrs. I actually like Mrs. Mahomes much better, if you want to know the truth. She's a big Trump fan. I was not a Taylor Swift fan. It was just a question of time. You couldn't possibly endorse Biden. You look at Biden, you couldn't possibly endorse him. But she's a very liberal person. She seems to always endorse a Democrat. And she'll probably pay a price for it in the marketplace. But no, I like Brittany. I think Brittany's great. Brittany got a lot of news last week. She's a big MAGA fan. That's the one I like much better than Taylor Swift.
Right. Brittany is
Mahomes.
Yeah, they're Mahomes. They're great friends.
The wife of the great quarterback, and he is a great quarterback.
My favorite team from Kansas City.
I think she's terrific.
Of course he does. I mean, that's Trump. That's Trump's fashion, right? If somebody endorses him, he's going to sit there and uplift you. If you sit there and go against him, then he's just going to destroy you with a hammer. There was a kind of an interesting infographic that was portrayed for the debate by Fox News, where former President Donald Trump's messaging surrounding the rise of migrant crime appeared to resonate not just with Republicans, but also with a large number of independent voters. Check this out. So there's a graph here. The yellow line is the independent voters. The blue line is Democrats. And then the red line is Republicans. Now, again, this is supposedly, even amongst all Americans, Democrat, Republican, Independent, the immigration crisis is the number one issue, or at least the top three issues in America. But obviously you're going to see a spike between the yellow and red, but watch the blue line. Not much happening. Look at that spike. And what you see throughout is that in some areas, the yellow and red actually match up with one another. So a big bump. And what you tend to see through that is not much change with the Democrats, which shows. So here's a better look at it. So see that bump? This was during
presidential candidates last evening debating.
This was during him talking about the migrant crisis. Look at that. You get the upward spike of both Republicans and independents, but look at that dip between Democrats. So Democrats, like I mentioned, you guys, you might be thinking, how could they be for all this? No, they love it. That's the thing. They love it. They know it's the votes. They'll sit there and complain in their localities, but when it comes to actually voting, they will vote in Democrat again. As I mentioned, if you're just joining us, I need to start doing like a infographic where Democrats vote in Democrats. Democrat politicians cause all the problems. Democrat voters complain about the problems of the Democrat they voted in the office. Democrat sits there and says, I'm going to fix all your problems that I created, and I'm going to blame it on Republicans, to voting back in Democrats. It's a circle, and there's no connection. I'm not even joking, you can actually show them this image, and they'll flip it around and not know how to read it. And they're like, are you talking about me? Are you talking about us? We don't do that. I told you, I know, I do this all the time, but it's the wires are crossed, they're not mixing correctly, and that's when you get short circuits. That's when you get the Joe Biden effect. Not a clue what the hell's going on. Now, the one thing I did like that happened yesterday, I do actually appreciate this took place, is Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, J.D. Vance, everybody was kind of there together for the 9/11 ceremony. And there was even a clip here of them shaking hands at the beginning. You got to love that people are shouting for Donald Trump, but nobody's shouting for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or Chuck Schumer. Oh boy. Well, that was a nice moment to have them shaking hands. Whether some of you like it or not, I mean, it could happen. Now, the other bit of news here is Democrats support ending the lives of babies who survive abortions. Remember, this was all a lie. So now we're getting into Kamala Harris's lies a little bit. Now we're getting into the foozery of what we're seeing as well as what people had to say. Yes, folks, Democrats did support ending the lives of babies who survived. And remember, ABC says, oh, this isn't happening. Of course they're going to sit there and lie. Democrat lawmakers have repeatedly expressed support for laws that would allow abortionists to end the lives of babies who survive abortions and voted against laws that protect babies who survive abortions. Folks, they had RVs showing up to their own convention. I can't remember if that's ever even happened before. They had RVs show up to their convention to perform abortions on the spot and vasectomies. That's a fact that former President Donald Trump highlighted during Tuesday night debate, drawing the annoyance of Vice President Kamala Harris and the admonishment of debate moderator Lindsey Davis. There is no, here we go. No, this is the exact quote. They said it, not me. There's no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it is born, Davis said Tuesday evening. Trump was referring to 2019 comments made by the former Virginia governor, Ralph Northam, who did say that, by the way. If a mother is in labor, the infant would be delivered, Northam explained. God, that sounds like it's delivered, meaning it's alive. The infant would be kept comfortable. Well, if you're dead, what comfort could you offer it in the first place, meaning it's alive? The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. And there's the clip. So you know what? Let's just go to it.
There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say, this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again, we want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why, Julie, that legislators, most of whom are men, by the way, shouldn't be telling a woman what she should and shouldn't be doing with her body.
And it just shows you right there, that last statement, that they don't want men, mothers, and fathers to work together to solve problems. My question has always been, who is sitting there advocating on behalf of the human being that was just delivered? Shouldn't it be the father as well? Because you have to have kind of two people come together and make a baby. But don't worry, you shouldn't be able to tell somebody what they could do with their body, but somehow you're advocating for somebody else's body without advocating for it. It doesn't make sense to me. Hand to God, it really doesn't. But sure, we'll just kill babies and do all those things. It's no big deal. Now, there's this other clip that I want to show you where you have trans bill would not pass and would have eliminated all the procedures and processes that are required to affect a woman's informed written consent to the performance of an abortion, she herself admitted, meaning this individual here, that unborn babies could be aborted through the third trimester, adding, "I don't think we have a limit in the bill."
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking
that.
about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So.
Hold on. No. Don't go anywhere.
40 weeks.
Okay. But to the end of the third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
Third trimester.
Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill. Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill. Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill. Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill. Yep. I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
Huh. Wow. Oh, hey guys, but no, this is actually all AI. I made this up. This isn't real. It's all fictitious, deep fake, cheap fakes. That's not a real human being talking. Of course, I'm being facetious and satirical. It's 100% real, and it's always been real. Now, there was a lot of claims that were made, and we're about to break them down for all of you folks. Okay, I hope you're hitting that like button for us and sharing this all over social media. You got to take care of yourselves, and taking care of me as a patriot is always greatly appreciated. I want to talk about some things that people are afraid to say freaking out loud right now. We are wondering who's in control of America's nukes. It's not Biden. No way in hell. Meanwhile, we have Russian ships off the coast of Florida still, folks, and full-blown wars in Ukraine and Israel. Things are not looking good. The world is at its most unstable point since World War II. And with nuclear weapons, the stakes are 10 times higher. How do people like you and I stay safe? That's the big question. Every prepper needs to have RadioGuard Ace. We've talked about them before. The only FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. You want to have this locked and loaded, ready to go in case something were to happen. Only the feds had it until now. That's why Rumble partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of RadioGuard Ace and the ability to prescribe it prophylactically. Get their radioactive emergency kit with RadioGuard Ace, potassium iodide, Zofran, and a Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool, folks, in your arsenal to protect against a radioactive threat. Go to 5g.com, code studio to save 15% off and get your radioactive kit now. This is something that's been on my mind greatly, especially if Kamala Harris gets in office. I might be like buying actual rations for food and stuff like that. That's a big deal to me. So make sure you check out that 5G, folks. Go over there and get that 15% off. And just in case, it's nice to have it. Okay. It's one of those things. It's like insurance. When something goes down, you're thanking God that you have it. Now, a lot of claims here. So we're going to go through this big time. This comes from Charlie Kirk, folks. CNN claims that Kamala Harris had only one false claim. I don't know if you all saw that. Let me see if no. There was an image there that showed it, and I had it queued up somewhere here. We'll see if we can find it. If not, it's okay. But there was an infographic where the CNN posted a picture that Kamala Harris had one false claim, and then they threw like a big number out for Donald Trump. Even a casually observant person could easily flag a bunch throughout the night. Here's a list, and here's where we're going into detail now, folks. Kamala called it a lie that she supports mandatory confiscation of firearms, but in 2019, Kamala said she wanted a mandatory buyback assault weapons program, cited by Bloomberg. Kamala said that nowhere in America is abortion happening up until birth. Now, we just debunked that one, just with a couple. But at this very moment, abortion is legal through all 9 months of pregnancy in New Mexico, Minnesota, Oregon, Colorado, Vermont, New Jersey, Alaska, Washington, D.C. Hell, Tim Walz signed a bill removing any requirement to provide life-saving care to children born in a botched abortion. That comes from Axios. Kamala said that the Trump's policy is to ban IVF when Trump had directly intervened to protect IVF and is campaigning to expand the access of it. That comes from NPR. Kamala said that Trump referred to neo-Nazis as a very fine people. This is thoroughly debunked. Kamala just repeats it because hacks like ABC let her get away with it, which is true. That was debunked by Snopes, which we covered here on the show. And by the way, it was debunked 7 years ago because there's video of him talking. There's video of him talking, but this is what they'll do. They'll lie about it, which is consistent. And the media will sit there and promulgate that lie in the same way they promulgated the lie about the Hunter Biden laptop, in the same way they promulgated the lie about the Russia hoax, in the same way they lied about the PP tape, in the same way that they lied about Donald Trump's classified documents, right? Because they scattered them out and took makeshift photos. They actually fabricated the photos of all that. This is what they're going to do. And we told you this was going to happen, right? We said it's only going to ramp up. The lies are going to be consistent. She was still lying about Project 2025, which we'll get to in one moment. It's just consistent lies from this woman through the entire night. And the legacy media massaged her shoulders. Oh, good. Good, Kamala. Run the country into the ground. That's what they want. Harris claimed that Trump threatened a literal bloodbath, which was debunked a while ago, by the way, if he wasn't elected. This is a total lie. Trump said that there's been a bloodbath in the auto industry if Joe Biden won re-election. Apparently, CNN doesn't consider that a lie whatsoever because there was no fact check on that one, but that one comes from factcheck.org. Kamala said that she planned to levy a 20% tax on everyday goods. This is a total fabrication, by the way. And she said that she has made it very clear all the way back in 2020 during the election that she supports fracking and doesn't want to ban it. But in 2020 primaries, which we showed the video of relentlessly, and we showed it yesterday, and we showed it in prior shows on live television, that Harris said verbatim, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. That comes from NBC Chicago, but there's a litany of articles and videos out there displaying that she's a liar. Kamala described Project 2025 as a detailed and dangerous plan that Trump will implement if elected, setting aside that the contradicts Kamala's own claim just minutes before that Trump has no plan. In reality, or the reality, is that Project 2025 was created by other people and Trump has no involvement with it, like whatsoever. Zero involvement. Here's the infographic for you, by the way. Kamala claims that police officers were murdered on January 6th. Nobody was murdered on January 6th in terms of police officers. Zero. So it's a continued lie that they continue to promulgate. Just one lie of many. And we're going to continue to go with it because we have her top 7 lies as well. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. If you're new to it and you feel like we deserve your subscription, hit that like and subscribe button. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you any money. We do have a membership if you'd like to join, if you'd like to donate. All that stuff is there for you. I feel like you don't have to, but it is there if you would like. So Kamala Harris's top 7 lies during the debate. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Number 1, Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in century. So her claim is false because her statement implies that Trump was responsible for COVID-19. And that's what they did, right? That's the sleight of hand right there, is that it wasn't China's fault. Now, Trump should have came back and said, what are you doing about China? Where's the response for them unleashing one of the world's worst pandemics? It was an opportunity for him to slap her upside her damn head. But she's claiming that Trump was responsible for COVID-19 pandemic, a pandemic that originated in communist China in what many experts say was a lab accident, a lab leak. Remember how we couldn't say that for years, by the way? Remember how the Biden-Harris administration would sit there and actually deplatform you through the use of big tech and censor us if you said anything remotely? It's amazing now. Just like 3 years later, I could sit there and say that it came from a lab in Wuhan, China. And I'm completely okay all of a sudden, but we couldn't say anything of the sort. You couldn't say anything about COVID-19 because you'd be silenced. But remember, she's for free speech. She's for your rights, you guys. She doesn't want to remove your guns. You know, it's always chiseling away at our First Amendment right, Second Amendment right, and other rights. The coronavirus spread to every corner of the world within a short period of time. Most Americans died with COVID-19 under the Biden-Harris administration than the Trump administration, even though COVID-19 vaccines had been readily available. And by the way, it was Operation Warp Speed that Donald Trump implemented that was carried out by the Biden-Harris administration, but they're going to give credit to themselves and not to Donald Trump because it makes Donald Trump look good. Number 2 here was that Harris, quote, what are you going to hear tonight in a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president pretends and intends on implementing if he were elected again. Folks, Trump has repeatedly disavowed this, like relentlessly, like hitting his head against the wall. Even during the debate, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't even read it. I don't even want to read it. It's too big. It's too long. I got nothing to do with it. Like, he can only be so clear, right? You fucking love Project 2025. You made it. You wrote it yourself, you damn liar. Right? That's the stuff she's pushing. And what's remarkable is it's remarkable because the guy says, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't know what it is. I don't know anything about it. I haven't read it. I don't know anybody involved in it. And she just sits there and goes, no, you wrote the thing. It's in your own handwriting, Donald. She didn't say that, right? But it's basically like that. And complete lies. And Democrats believe it. They won't go look it up themselves, you guys. It's as if she's the second coming of Christ to these people. And she's going to believe anything and everything. They're going to believe anything and everything that comes out of this woman's mouth in the same way they believe anything and everything that comes out of Karine Jean-Pierre's mouth and the legacy media. I don't believe everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. Of course I don't. He's a human being. He exaggerates things. He's a reality star, a businessman, a billionaire. I'm going to just sit there and listen with my ears, like Judge Judy says, listening, and determine what I think is being exaggerated versus what do I think is really going to happen and what's actually feasible. Democrats, oh God, yes, oh, she's perfect. Oh, look at her, she's so good. Number 3, Harris, I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. We don't need to rehash that one out. We keep rehashing that week after week. We know what she said. She wants to ban fracking. Of course she does. Now she doesn't. Like I said, why didn't they drill, baby, drill? Why did they not do all these things when she was vice president of the United States? Still is in the office right now. It's only September. You can get a lot done in the remaining months. She also lied about her support for a bail fund that helped those who rioted in Minneapolis in 2020. Now, we all remember this one. Here's a transcript. Here's the transcript. You know what? Let's just watch the clip. Let's see if I have it queued up here. Let me get the clip here. I don't want to read the transcript. That's kind of redundant. Here we go.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of.
She's shaking her head. No, you did. Yeah, you did. In the same way you're saying that you didn't want to ban fracking, but you did. And like I said, Democrats will look at her going, oh yeah, look at that liar. Donald Trump just lies so much. After all these years, like 8 years of seeing lie after lie after lie from not just Democrats, not just from Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, John Kirby, Jake Sullivan, Karine Jean-Pierre, Jen Psaki, the legacy media, Don Lemon, hell, I mean, the list goes on. Brian Stelter, right? Wolf Blitzer, Anderson Cooper. Like, do we need to keep going down the laundry list of things and names of people that just consistently sat there and allegedly legal problems survived, or legal, just making sure we got that covered? Allegedly, we know what really happened. All those people pushed the Hunter Biden laptop was fake, by the way. All the people pushed the Russia hoax for years. All the people covered for Benghazi, all those people, or some of them. I don't want to hear anything from Democrats about Donald Trump being a liar, because that's all we hear is lies consistently through Kamala Harris's dentures. Harris said, let's remember Charlottesville. This one's still a promulgated lie. It was also pushed forward by Joe Biden consistently and the legacy media. Mind you, not a single one of these top lies, by the way, was ever said or contradicted by those moderators. Like the glaring one that should have been easy was the Snopes article. The Snopes article, which is right here. She said, let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president say at the time? There are very fine people on each side. So that was debunked by Snopes 7 years later, but all of us been saying that's not what he said, but they don't care about what he said. They only care about what is the falsehoods. So that was a nice moment where the moderators could have stepped in and was like, sorry, Miss Vice President, that actually was debunked by Snopes. That was a complete lie. Why are you lying right now? They didn't want to do that. Of course not. Number 6 here is Donald Trump, the candidate, said in his last election, there will be a bloodbath. We covered that one. He was talking about the automakers because they're losing jobs to the Chinese automakers. Now, that's partly, to be fair, that's partly the automakers' fault too. And I'll tell you why, is because no longer are we competing necessarily in a local or even a national wage competition. We're dealing more so now in a global wage competition. So now that you're unionized, you have to be very careful that you don't price yourself out of the market, not just on a local and state level, but even a national and global level, because now these corporations can easily move just from one country to the other, and now you're out of a job altogether. It's very similar to minimum wage, where you could price yourself out of a local or state market, and that corporation will just move and go somewhere else because they can't afford to pay you. said minimum wage, and they need to survive to feed themselves. So now you have to be very careful. So partly it is to do that the wages are just too high that they're asking for automakers. And I know automakers won't agree with that, but I'm just explaining one of the things that is going on. And lastly, number 7 here is, as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world. Folks, there's more than 3,000 soldiers spread out across Iraq and Syria fighting ISIS and providing stability to the region, like right now. But they'll get away with it. They'll get away with it. Not to mention that these soldiers that have boots on the ground, right, because that's where they are, is they've been attacked more than 200 times, by the way. Attacked more than 200 times. They don't want to do anything about it. Of course they don't. Now, this also led to the Times having to correct themselves, which is frustrating as hell, because the lies are already out there. Nobody's going to go back and be like, oh, on page 28 of the Times, let me go read about the correction that I saw the falsehood yesterday. So Time magazine issued an embarrassing correction to its post-debate report about how former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris fared against each other on Tuesday night. Breitbart columnist noted that the left-wing publication initially reported the former president falsely claimed that Harris wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. She does. She does. Trump made the factually correct statement when talking about the litany of issues that Harris has flip-flopped. You guys, she does this and gave that look like, oh, you're so crazy, Donald, which we said was going to happen, by the way. I called it to a T. Oh, Donald. Oh, Their policies are so crazy that that's exactly what they did. Oh, that is just so crazy, Donald, that I would ever do such a thing. You did, bitch. You did. I don't mean to cuss, but you did. Her policies are so maddening. They are so head spinning that literally she's playing it off as if it's crazy and that she wasn't the one that came up with it. But she did. They had to issue a correction. No, a Democrat, where's the proof? Where's the proof?
That they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case.
What the hell was that?
Of surgery.
For prisoners. For prisoners. For prisoners.
For prisoners.
It says transform. Okay, that makes sense. All right. I was like, dude, that's a dude, and it is.
And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to California. So that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy.
She didn't say it, you guys. It's cheap fakes, deep fakes. Yeah, it's not, none of it's real. None of it's real whatsoever. Donald Trump made it up, you guys. He just made it up because, because he said it. The original version of this story mischaracterized a false Donald Trump statement accusing Kamala Harris of supporting transgender operations of illegal aliens in prison. As a presidential candidate in 2019, Harris filled out a questionnaire saying that she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition treatment for detained immigrants. And you just heard it from the horse's mouth herself. Oh, but he's lying. He's not saying the truth. I know it's frustrating as hell, you guys, but they get away with it. Why do they get away with it? Because the media aren't going to sit there and push out all those clips of all the lies that she told. She is nothing but a liar. She will continue to lie. If she's ever elected president, she'll continue to lie. In the same way Karine Jean-Pierre lies on behalf of Joe Biden, in the same way Joe Biden lies. It's a constant theme. Now, politicians lie in general. I'm not going to say Donald Trump hasn't lied or doesn't lie, but I'd say in terms of magnitude, Democrats beat Republicans out really far. Now, here's J.D. Vance coming out and setting the record straight regarding Donald Trump's tariffs, because that's another lie that Kamala Harris promoted. And by the way, Donald Trump had a nice 1-2 punch on her where he said, well, if the tariffs are so bad, why didn't you remove the ones I placed on China? Why are those still in effect? And J.D. Vance here makes a very great point about the tariffs that were implemented under Donald Trump.
I do think that it's negotiation. Donald Trump is a negotiator. He believes in using tariffs for negotiation, but he also does believe in using tariffs to induce more manufacturing, more capital formation in our country. But Andrew, the problem with the argument here is when people say these tariffs are going to have an effect, Donald Trump already imposed specific tariffs on specific industries. You didn't see the negative consequences come to light. In fact, what you saw was rising wages and rising take-home pay. So when people say you can't do this in a narrow way, you can't do it in a broad-based way, I just think that doesn't actually fit with reality. And there's actually a deeper argument here that I think Donald Trump really, again, understands and understood better than a lot of people who said that somehow American prosperity was going to come by shipping our steel industry and our pharmaceutical industry overseas. They were wrong and he was right. So maybe he's right about his policies and the effect they're going to have on the future, too. But one of the critical conceits that our bipartisan consensus made over the last 40 years is that you could separate the manufacture of things from the design of things. You open up an iPhone and it says, you know, I think it says designed in Cupertino, California. The implication, of course, is that it's manufactured in Shenzhen, China. But what we're finding out is that the people who are manufacturing things, they innovate, they become more productive. They develop the critical skills necessary to get better at manufacturing, and then they start designing the things too. Right. If we're not doing enough manufacturing in our own country, we're going to lose our tech edge, and then we're going to be in a world of hurt. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of... I like tariffs do basically implement a tax on the American people. I mean, that part is true. There is some ways that you can go about it, but in general, folks, it is a tax, right? Again, I'm not going to pander to you guys. I'm just going to give you what I believe to be true. Generally, a tariff is going to be sent back to you in some way, shape, or form in terms of that cost of good or service increasing. Now, the other effect that you could have is when you bring manufacturing back to the United States, because our wages are a lot higher than over in China or Vietnam and India, these other places that are big in manufacturing, is the price of your goods going to go up because labor is so expensive. And that's kind of one of the issues you have with minimum wage or these low skilled jobs. And I'm not making fun, or I'm not hopefully diminishing that labor that's being produced in terms of making these goods and services. But because it's a low skilled job, the wage shouldn't be as high as maybe what people think it should be. And so that causes everything else to go up in price, right? When everything else goes up in price, you need more money to pay for said good thing that you want. And so you want more money from your job, and everything continues to go up. So I don't think manufacturing is going to be brought back here in a big way anytime soon. It's just too expensive. Americans are going to sit there and buy with obviously their wallets. They want cheaper stuff. And, you know, we may buy American, built in American, or buy American, but we just don't do it as Americans at the end of the day. Now, how are you going to feel if Trump doesn't win was a question that was being asked by CBS. Well, here's what some people said.
What do you feel if Trump doesn't win, Diane?
Petrified.
Petrified?
Petrified.
Of what may be happening?
All the illegals coming through, they're going to make it up here to Michigan.
What is going on at the borders?
They're already in Michigan. They're already there.
Scares me to death. I just hold my breath every day hoping that somebody that I love doesn't get hurt.
Really? You think about it that much?
Yes.
How will you feel if...
Really? Like, you really think about that? Yeah, because it's happening every week. This is what the media does, you guys. This is what the media does. They play down serious issues. There's more people here illegally than half the population of our states. There's more people here illegally that came under Joe Biden, the entire state of New Jersey. And this guy's like, wow, you really think about like they're going to harm you and your family? Yes, because it's happening. They're raping people, man. They're eating people's animals. They're eating people's dogs and cats.
I talked to 20 voters. Not one of them was undecided.
Wow.
Not one.
Not one. And headlines come and go, but let me tell you this. Support for former President Trump is real and resilient. I encounter that everywhere I went. And that's something the Harris campaign knows, recognizes, the fact in Michigan. And so I talked to 20 voters.
Now, 20 voters isn't a lot, to be honest, but it is kind of interesting that all 20 of them were not undecided. They actually were just, I'm voting for Trump. Now, remember, during the debate, Trump goes, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, which is happening, right? And then Kamala's like, oh, like laughing it off, like, this is so wild, it's so crazy. Because it is wild and crazy, but it's happening. And then ABC comes out and goes, oh, that's not happening, sir. We had our own people on the ground. We have reporting saying that's a bunch of BS. That's not happening. Even though that morning on the Bald Brad Show, we sat here and showed freaking footage of actual people from the actual area saying they're eating birds. And I was like, I can't show it. I've seen video of people beheading animals at local parks and ponds in Springfield, and then taking said cat, bird, duck, dog, and rotisserie it on their stove in their house, making a makeshift fire. Don't tell me it's not real when people are sitting with their phones going, this is at Springfield, Ohio. This guy just got done eating a kitty cat. There's endless videos going on right now, by the way. Like I posted a video on Twitter that's like 30 minutes long of people doing this, by the way. So if you want to follow me on X, there's a lot of content that I could post there that I can't post on YouTube. Follow me over there and you will see for yourself, like 30-minute footage. Now you have Ohio governor, here sending law enforcement and millions of dollars to Springfield, Ohio. Why? Why? Well, residents and public grievances about the influx of 20,000 Haitian migrants to the community garnered national attention. Oh, well, why though? What's the big deal? Because they're eating the dogs and cats, and an influx in the healthcare. This has been going on for years, by the way. We used to cover this early on during COVID-19, where Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were busing in migrants on Greyhound buses into the localities of Texas and Arizona. And what they were doing was they were forcing the localities to sit there and pay for the COVID-19 tests for these illegal immigrants. And it was so expensive back then that they had to declare a local emergency for these towns because they didn't have the money to pay for it. They can't print money like the federal government. The state can't print money. So it's a remarkable thing that nobody wants to talk about that in the same way nobody wants to talk about this and treat it as a factual truth in terms of the Democrat Party. I mean, of course, Republicans are talking about it. But it's amazing how nobody wants to talk about these issues of the Haitians, the illegal immigrants, the 350,000 children that were lost. But help the children, help the children. Why don't you go down to the border right now, Kamala, and help the children so they're not lost, sold into sex trades, and sold off into forced labor, which is just slavery. So here's the actual announcement there. Announces healthcare public safety support for Springfield and Clark County. Just taxpayer dollars at work here for a problem that Democrats caused. But don't worry, they're going to fix it, you guys. They're going to fix it. Now, remember, she also said that she was not going to sit there and confiscate your guns. Well, that was a lie, too. I said it was a lie. Here's the receipt, said it was a lie. She sat there and wants to confiscate your guns. Well, I'm a gun owner myself. Yeah, so you'll probably get to keep your damn guns, but I won't get to keep mine. So if you remember, here's the clip here of that.
And I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
In recent days, former Vice President Biden has said about executive orders, some really talented people are seeking the nomination. They said, I'm going to issue an executive order. Biden saying there's no constitutional authority to issue that executive order when they say I'm going to eliminate assault weapons, saying you can't do it by executive order any more than Trump can do things when he says he can do it by executive order. Does the vice president have a point there?
Some things you can. Many things you can't.
Let's let the senator answer.
Well, I mean, I would just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying no, we can't, let's say yes, we can.
Let's be constitutional. We got a constitution.
And yes, we can.
Not to mention Joe Biden, Democrats have come out and said they want to remove your semi-automatic firearms, like verbatim, but that's fine. Now, she had previously alluded to her personal firearm during her ill-fated presidential campaign in 2019, said, I am a gun owner, and I am a gun for probably the reason a lot of people do for personal safety. I was a career prosecutor. She keeps bringing that up. She was a terrible prosecutor. It's like a remarkable thing that people would brag about the very thing that they suck at. Do you notice that people that were good at something, very rarely did actually bring up the fact that they even did that said thing that they were good at? But I was a prosecutor. I got rid of people. I did this or that. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. The other thing that's happening here is because Kamala Harris and Democrats suck at running things, businesses are going out again. This has been going on for 3.5 years, but don't worry, the economy's fine, folks. Business owners are doing A-OK. This is in the Bay Area in California where Kamala Harris sat there and, helped destroy.
To have made the decision that you have to leave this space.
It sucks. I mean, this is my livelihood.
David Pasusic says the cost of running any small business continues to rise by thousands of dollars between the rising price of inventory, insurance, and his monthly PG&E bill. But the safety of his employees and the often violent responses they get when they regularly catch shoplifters is the main reason why he's closing up shop.
God, could that be the reason why your insurance is going up? Because all the crime that's happening thanks to Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris? Yeah, maybe. Is that maybe why customers don't want to show up to the damn store because they don't want to be robbed?
Some of them
maybe
refuse to give it back, try to fight us, and or they say, well, go ahead and call the police. I'll wait for the police to show up. And they laugh in your face because they know they're not going to show up.
Along with the harassment and violence, he says he's also had to resort to boarding up his windows at closing time because of repeated break-ins. And for those reasons, the Bayside Market will close as of Friday.
Entire malls are shutting down because of this in the Bay Area. And but don't worry, the economy is stronger than ever for working class people, even though, I don't know, they're struggling. They're struggling.
The economy today is an economy where working class people are struggling. That is absolutely true.
You guys caused it, Bernie.
The economy today.
God. They cause all this, and then the economy is struggling. It's terrible. Yeah, because you idiots caused it. And then you're going to play it off like it's Donald Trump's fault. It's everybody else's fault. No, it's Kamala Harris. It's Democrats' fault because it's probably happening in Democrat-ran areas. But that's what we got today for you, folks. I hope you appreciated the show. Hit that like and subscribe button if you feel like we deserved it. If you feel like you're getting this commentary that you enjoy. We're here every single morning, weekdays, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, bringing you the news, bringing you the receipts, and going over everything you need to know about. If you're going to hop into somebody else's show after mine, make sure you check out Dan Bongino. We're big fans of Dan. If you go over there, write in Bald Brad, spam his chat, came from Bald Brad. So maybe one day we can actually team up with Dan and maybe even be a guest on his show. That is the goal. But I appreciate all the love and support you guys always show me. I hope you feel like you're getting something out of this show, some sort of value and entertainment. With that being said, again, hit that like and subscribe button, Patriots. I hope you have a blessed day. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. Pray for the president that's currently running the show, allegedly. And with that being said, I will see you later here on the Bo Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.